every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
Core TV News, expanding your view.
Hello, thank you for joining us tonight on Core TV Primetime News. I am Frank Omalapeh. In our top stories tonight, suspected Boko Haram insurgents shot dead many people, possibly as many as 97, late in West town of Nigeria. And also, President Muhammadu Buhari has relieved the Director General of the State Security Services, Ita Ekpeyong, of his appointment. And our oil workers say the recent fuel scarcity in the country is caused by the non-availability of enough commodity to cater for the country's needs. And outside Nigeria now, a boat carrying 189 people has been sighted in the central Philippines minutes after leaving port, as the local Coast Guard reported that at least 36 people have died. Thank you for joining us tonight. Suspected Boko Haram insurgents shot dead many people, possibly as many as 97 late on Wednesday in a town in northeast Nigeria. And several sources say the latest in a string of attacks in Borno State. A former local official in the town of Kokawa near Lake Chad said many had been killed after the suspected Islamist militant attack in the early evening. A member of a local defense group said the death toll could be as high as 97. Many people were killed, said a military source, adding that the casualty figure may be very high. Boko Haram has killed thousands of people and left about 1.5 million others displaced during a 6-year insurgency to create an Islamic caliphate in the northeast of Africa's most populous nation and top oil producer. Last month has seen a resurgence in attacks, most of them in the Borno State capital of Maiduguri, the biggest city of northern and northeastern Nigeria, where the Army's new command center for the campaign against Boko Haram is now located. President Muhammadu Buhari, who was inaugurated on May 29, has held talks with officials from neighboring countries Chad, Niger, Cameroon, and Benin to set up a regional force to tackle the insurgents. And away from that now, President Muhammadu Buhari has relieved the Director General of the State Security Service, Ita Ekpeyong, of his appointment. He has since named Lawal Daura as the new head of the agency. Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Danladi Kifasi, announced the appointment in a statement by the Director of Communication in his office, Haruna Imrana. He knew as Director General joined the service in 1982 and rose to the rank of Director. He was the Deputy Director at Presidential Communication Command and Control Center at the Presidential Villa between 2003 and 2007, and also headed state commands at various times in Kano, Sokoto, Edo, Lagos, Osun, and Imo. Daura's appointment is with immediate effect. And while the presidency has insisted the due process was followed in the appointment of Amina Zakari as the acting chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, it also dismissed claims by the People's Democratic Party that President Muhammadu Buhari overruled Professor Tahir Jega in making the appointment. Presidential spokesman Femi Adesina said in a statement issued in Abuja that only the president has the constitutional authority to make appointments of that caliber. He added that the step taken by the former INEC chairman in handing over to one of the national commissioners cannot be construed as an appointment. A presidential spokesman also maintained that Zakari was appointed on merit among 6 national commissioners considered for the job, contrary to PDP's allegations of nepotism and partisanship. The acting national chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mrs. Amina Zakari, has said she accepted her appointment with humility. She told journalists in Abuja on Thursday, a day after her appointment, that she will do her job diligently and that the Commission will continue to work hard with the aim of delivering on its assignment. Zakari said her tenure should be seen as a continuation of the former chairman of the Commission, Professor Atahiru Jega. Jega left the Commission on Tuesday after the expiration of his 5-year tenure. And now, National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Chief John Odigi Oyegun, has reacted angrily to suggestion by some party members that he has been compromised. Odigi Oyegun, who spoke while receiving a delegation of South Professionals Forum at the APC headquarters in Abuja on Thursday, said those vilifying him will soon eat their words. In an apparent response to Chief Bisi Akode's letter, Odigi Oyegun said talks about 2019 elections at this point in time is not only hasty but uncalled for. And our former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has urged leaders of the All Progressive Congress to shift from extreme positions to a centrist one in the interest of the party and the new administration. He said he is ahead of the party's National Executive Council meeting slated for Friday in Abuja. In a statement released by his media office, quoted the former vice president as calling for concentration of positive energies on building unity, cohesion, and harmony among party leaders. He said it was high time the party overcame its current crisis of confidence arising from the election of presiding officers in the National Assembly. The former vice president is not likely to be at the meeting as he is set to be performing the Lesser Hajj in Saudi Arabia. And our oil workers say the recent fuel scarcity in the country is caused by the non-availability of enough commodity to cater for the country's needs. This is in contrary to assurances from the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and NPC in the aftermath of the return of fuel kiosks in many parts of the country. They maintain that the rehabilitation and construction of refineries remains the solution to the recurrent crisis. Correspondent Basiai has details.
After several weeks of buying fuel with ease, Nigerians are once again faced with long queues. A visit to some filling stations within the Federal Capital City shows a number of vehicles waiting to be served. Here, busy attendants are dispensing as quickly as possible. There is, however, a different scenario at this barricaded filling station where only one vehicle is being served, first in gallons, then the tank. The situation is obviously a shady one, as the attendants can be heard questioning Core TV crew for taking shots of their activity.
Okay.
Yes?
How may I help you?
I'm a journalist.
Huh?
I'm a journalist.
While residents of Abuja metropolis are still trying to understand the cause of this recent scarcity, those responsible for marketing and transporting the commodity have an answer. They lay the blame at the feet of marketers and government.
We've overemphasized this issue of fuel scarcity in this country. We've said until the country is refining locally, we will continue to experience this issue of fuel scarcity in this country. If we depend solely on importation. And then if we also depend on issues of payment of subsidy and not allowing the market to be deregulated, currently we'll continue to face these challenges we're facing, because those out there who are importing petroleum products today must be paid their subsidy. Those who are out there that are also importing will want to make profit from their business. And until that enabling environment is created freely, we will continue to experience what we're experiencing.
In the coming days, Nigerians are hoping that the government of the day finds a permanent solution to the on and off fuel crisis in the country. Basiaye, Core TV News, Abuja.
You're still watching Core TV Primetime News. We take a break now. Be back with more stories after this time out. Join us again.
Lapcon have naked, that's a sign of protest, saying that things are not good.
Women share the most amazing thoughts
When it's close to the time, our people will protest naked.
on national issues.
That was their own point. That was an accident. That is different.
And they do it
Politics is about being a servant.
passionately,
Without a woman, there will be no success at all.
sharing the adorable word of women
There are some women who have what it takes.
in politics
Margaret Thatcher, Iron Lady. When she's too soft, she's too soft.
only on Core TV News.
Is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It is the month where the Holy Quran was first sent down to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. During this month, Muslims all around the world must fast. They do not eat or drink between sunrise and sunset, and it is obligatory on all Muslims if they are physically and mentally sound, except for the traveler, elderly, pregnant, menstruating, or chronically ill. Whoever cannot fast, it is their duty to feed the poor if they have the financial ability. It is not only abstinence from food and drink, but also a test for patience in refraining from evil actions, thoughts, and words. It is a test to demonstrate submission to Allah, God, and a way to keep the mind and body focused on good deeds and attaining self-discipline. At night, Muslims perform extra prayers in addition to the 5 daily prescribed prayers. It is also a requirement that Muslims give charity to the poor by the end of Ramadan. The rewards for good actions are multiplied in this month, and this is why it is encouraged to reassess our actions, make beneficial use of our time, do extra prayers, read the Quran, and ask for forgiveness so that we may attain paradise through Allah's mercy, insha'Allah.
You're watching the Core TV Primetime News live from our Lagos studios. If you just joined us now, a quick reminder of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has relieved the Director General of the State Security Service, Itai Ekpeyank, of his appointment. And also suspected Boko Haram insurgents shot dead many people, possibly as many as 97 late Wednesday in Borno. Now, workers say the recent fuel scarcity in the country is caused by the non-availability of enough commodity to cater for the country's needs. All our top stories can be found on our social media platforms, like a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/CoreTVNews. You can also follow at CoreTVNews NG. For live streaming now, log on to youtube.com/CoreTV with a space, the news. Inspector General of Police Solomon Araze has ordered the posting of new commissioners of police. In a statement released in Abuja on Thursday by the Deputy Force PRO Abayomi Shogule, the new posting is in line with the determination of the IGP to inject fresh ideas in the security architecture in Lagos, Rivers, and Ogun State and some other force headquarters formations. Consequently, Ajani Fatai Owosheni has been posted to man the Lagos State Command. Chris Ejike is to take over Rivers State Command, while Abdulmajid Ali is the new CP for Ogun State. Dan Bature is CP Intelligence, FCIDD Federal Headquarters, Abuja. Valentine Ntochukwu is CP Admin, Department of Logistics and Supply, Federal Headquarters in Abuja. Helesinda Kimo Musa is CP Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, Federal Headquarters in Abuja. And Kaldi Adironti is CP Admin, Department of Operations, Federal Headquarters, Abuja. And AG Bine is Commissioner of Police Port Authority, Eastern Command, while Ubusua Jaule is CP Provost, Federal Headquarters in Abuja. IGP Arase also expressed hope that the new posting will reverse the crime wave in the affected state while strengthening administration in the affected strategic force headquarters formation. And our Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode on Thursday approved the appointment of Peter Okoji as the new General Manager of the Lagos State Electricity Board. In a statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Habib Aruna, Okoji's appointment, which takes immediate effect, followed the resignation of Damilola Ogunbiyi as General Manager of the board. Okoji is a holder of a Bachelor of Science degree of the Obafemi Awolowo University, the then University of Ife. The statement said he is also a member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and registered member of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria. He joined the services of the Lagos State Government in 1986 and has served in various capacities. Away from there now, only 36% of expectant mothers in Kaduna State have the benefit of being attended to by skilled birth attendants. This was part of the revelation at a one-day sensitization workshop put together by the Ministry of Women Affairs, Women Reproductive Health and Prevention of Mother-to-Child Transmission of HIV were part of the issues that came up for discussion. Correspondent Amina Nebi has details in this report from our studios. Women in the state have been reminded to be mindful of the deadly negative impacts of the HIV/AIDS. This was part of the messages delivered at a one-day sensitization workshop that centered around women reproductive health, age and prevention of mother-to-child transmission of HIV. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Hawa Umaru, urged women to always perform medical checkup during pregnancy and even after birth.
We organize this thing so that women in Kaduna State, will continue to be sensitized about HIV and AIDS and how the scourge, can be controlled and how the transmission from mother to child can also be prevented. So we are here for this sensitization, and the women that are the participants for this project are mostly within reproductive age.
Medical experts were also on hand to speak on the role of women in terms of child delivery and other reproductive problems.
Women should know that they have the key to their lives, particularly in HIV. There are a lot of things that they can do to assist themselves. For example, simple coming for antenatal clinic, simple agreeing to be tested, simple delivering in the hospital. Many women come to the hospital, they come for antenatal and then they go and deliver at home. How deliver with unqualified people? They should listen to our messages. Our messages can seriously address not only their HIV problem, but other reproductive health problems that they have.
Some of the participants at the forum were glad to be exposed to information that they didn't know about. Many said they learned new things and were quite grateful to the organizers.
I get the knowledge that a woman that is pregnant and is HIV positive, there are ways for you to prevent giving it to your unborn child.
The knowledge that I learned is that if a woman has a pregnant and she has HIV, so she should go to the hospital and see the doctor, and she will advise her for how to take care of the baby, and the mother too, she will know how to take care of herself, and she will try and explain to her husband, maybe if the husband doesn't know that she has the HIV.
We were taught how we can prevent ourselves from contacting HIV and AIDS, and also we are to, when we go back home, to keep awareness, teach others.
Some of the statistics that emanated from the forum were startling. For instance, the current coverage of measles vaccine in Kaduna State is 56%, reflecting the small immunization coverage for infants aged between 12 and 23 months. But the government says it is prepared to stem the tide of maternal and infant mortality, hence it came up with a forum such as this to educate nursing mothers on important health issues. Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has threatened to sue Union newspaper over an alleged false report on his asset. The newspaper had claimed that the governor declared asset in excess of 90 billion naira in a form he submitted to the Code of Conduct Bureau. But the governor said in a statement issued by his spokesman Samuel Aronwa that the news item was meant to tarnish his image. He disclosed that Governor El-Rufai has directed his legal team to take action to protect his reputation from those he described as irresponsible acts. Everyone described the governor as a respected leader in his profession, but noted he neither have assets worth 90 billion nor 40 mansions. And in a bid to actualize the desires for adequate power supply of his people, the Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha has visited the Egbema power plant to inspect the level of work done. The 330 watts power plant has been under construction for about 9 years with no proof of it coming to a completion. Correspondent Ajibade Alfeso has details.
The power plant, which was geared at providing power to the people of Egbema and Imo State at large, has not been able to see the light of the day due to the snail-paced work. Having seen the level of work at the site, Governor Rochas Okorocha reacts.
Let me inform all of you that I'm here on the directive of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammad Buhari, who has taken interest in making sure that we have steady power supply in Imo State and by extension in Nigeria. And as you know, General Buhari is a man who is straightforward and wants to get things done. I've come here to inspect the speed of work, and from all indications, I tend to agree with what the Royal Father have said, that this job is not moving the way it should move.
Correct. He reaffirms his visit to the site is to see to the completion of the project in order to implement his campaign promises.
I want to make an appeal to the contractor, and I want to see your chairman as quickly as possible this week, so I can take him before the president, and so we can get this job completed. Imo people cannot continue to be in darkness. The Hajjabema is in darkness, the entire state is in darkness. And if we have 230 megawatts of power, then this factory, industry, job, I don't know about, will start immediately.
The traditional ruler of the community, His Royal Highness Sylvester Okwodo, in response to the governor's kind gesture, thanked him for having the people at heart, even as they hope to see the dawn of the project. Ajibade Awofeso, Core TV News, Owerri.
And now the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has recovered and returned 10,000 euros, that's about 2 million naira, 250,000 naira to McCade, a French citizen who was victim of an internet love scam. EFCC said in a statement that the fund was wired to the victim through his account in France on the recommendation of the French embassy in Nigeria. McCade was duped by two internet fraudsters, Omodara Adidako and Adesuya Ayodeji, after he was deceived into a phantom relationship with a young lady. The scam was reported to the FCC via a petition from the French consulate in Lagos on behalf of McCade. And the men of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad have shot two robbers at Boji Owaika, in northeast of Delta State. The two suspected robbers, named Kenneth Okonkwo from Anambra State and Shonago Chukwuyem from Ika Northeast Delta State, were caught on the way for an operation with locally made gun and about 10 live cartridges. According to eyewitness, they were killed while trying to escape from the men of Special Anti-Robbery Squad. And our Nigeria Institute of Public Relations has announced that its upcoming 26th annual general meeting is expected to highlight some of its achievements and activities in the last 2 years and to further gain ground. The Lagos chapter of the Institute made this known at a media briefing on Thursday in Lagos. Activities lineup ahead of the AGM includes corporate social responsibility and efforts for free medical checkup for members, novelty march, public lectures, among other activities. According to the NIPR spokesman and head of DCS Planning Committee, John Mark Mitchell, the NIPR 26th Annual General Meeting plans to look beyond 2015 to deepening its reach and attract more members. For its part, chairman of the Institute, John Okoma, highlighting its achievement in the last 2 years, says the Institute has deepened its operations and upgraded its practices among members. And away from there now, the spirit of Ramadan, and at a time when the nation is experiencing political change, politicians have been urged to respect the oath they swore to when they assumed public office. Speaking at the 9th Lai Mohammed Ramadan Lecture Series in Orokwara State, Sheikh Muhyiddin Najidim says every politician that has the fear of God will accept politically, for there is no disparity between religion and politics. Correspondent Rashid has more.
Speaking on the theme, religion and politics, the guest lecturer Sheikh Muhyiddin Najimuddin advised that the notion of differentiating politics from religion should be dropped, saying the swearing of oath by public servants before assuming office attests that politics and religion are interwoven. He, however, advised politicians to change their ways, especially during the season of Ramadan and in compliance with the change mantra in the country.
And I'm telling you today, you cannot separate. You cannot segregate, you cannot dislocate, and you cannot even cut off politics from religion. Because the day you are being sworn in, you sworn an oath, either the Bible or the Quran. Because the two books happen to be the manual for you to live your life. Manual of life. Code of conduct, human code of conduct, for you to be able to serve justly, to be able to make pronouncement justly, for you to be able to make decisions and authorize things for the benefit of the masses.
The host and the National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Lai Mohammed, says the lecture is an eye-opener for politicians and timely for national discourse.
The guest speaker has really reminded us is that if we actually if we remember the dictates of our religion, whether Christians or Muslims, we will rule better. Because when we take oath of office, using either the Bible or the Holy Quran. And both books say must be upright, must be fair, must be just. And I think this is the most important lesson I've taken away.
This year's Lai Mohammed Ramadan Lecture Series is the 9th of its kind. Rashid, Court TV News, Oro, Kwara State.
You're still watching Court TV Primetime News. We take another break now. We'll be back with sports and stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trading looters that are in government today, not our poor people.
We'll bring to you divergent views.
You know my position about his level of competence or otherwise.
News making the headlines.
And I didn't go to school so that people can intimidate me with their ideas, no.
Sometimes it gets confrontation. If you become governor, you're going to bring back Okada. You will bring back the market women back on the streets.
They don't put words into my mouth.
On Core Digest.
Stop making innuendos.
Every weekday, we'll bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody has the right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that should be consulted.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it's about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power.
In any way they can do it.
I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
And outside Nigeria now, a boat carrying 189 people has capsized in the central Philippines minutes after leaving port, as the local coast guard reported that at least 36 people have died, with 118 survivors and another 19 still missing. The coast guard said there were 173 people on board. Philippine Red Cross Chairman Gordon said from Manila that the boat had 189 on board with 173 passengers, 15 crew, and the boat's owner, who he said had survived. Gordon puts the number of missing at about 35. The boat could accommodate up to 193 people. The MB Nirvana had just departed Omok City in Light Province bound for the town of Pila on Komoot Island, east of Cable Island, about noon local time when the disaster occurred. Philippine Coast Guard Lieutenant Christopher Garner said the boat, which is 27 meters long, was barely 200 meters from the shore when it capsized. And in business now, aggrieved workers of a defunct oil service firm on Thursday staged a protest at the Central Bank of Nigeria to compel the bank to facilitate the payment of the entitlement owed by Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria. This, they say, is because APCON took over Seawolf Oil Services Limited after the company management defaulted on a 25 billion bank loan. The oil workers who have since been laid off demanded a sack of the APCON Director General Mustafa Chikeobi.
These are some of the workers inherited by the Assets Management Corporation of Nigeria after it acquired Seawolf Oilfield Services Limited, a Niger Delta-based company. They represent the over 200 staff laid off after the acquisition and have for some time been demanding their entitlements and outstanding 22-month salaries. Now they have come to the premises of the Central Bank of Nigeria to make known their demands. This is their spokesperson who narrates their ordeal.
For the past 2 years now, as I'm talking to you right now, there's no formal letter of termination. There's no formal letter of, okay, go back. The risks are there in Lagos. Doing nothing, stack. These are working assets. If you want to take an asset, if you said it's a workable asset, so you can't take an asset without liabilities. So for the past 2 years, we have heard nothing from AMCON.
The CBN explained that it was not directly involved with the issues surrounding the demands, but promised to look into them. A top official of CBN who addressed journalists after the protest group had dispersed said that the bank would prevail on AMCON to settle the aggrieved workers.
They have come with their problems and we are trying to listen to them. If they had written earlier, this wouldn't have even come up. But there was no formal complaint to the central bank. And we have agreed they will bring up their complaints in writing, to which we can now review and respond.
The former staff of Seawolf have been in Abuja for over 4 weeks, exploring all available means of finding solutions to their situation.
And now these are definitely not interesting times for the nation's economy, particularly the national currency, the Naira, no thanks to the depleting reserves and the subsequent banning of importers of 41 items from the foreign exchange market by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Barely 10 days after the CBN stopped foreign sales to importers of rice, textile, and 39 other items, the Naira on Wednesday crashed to 230 against the United States dollar at the parallel market, down from 280 recorded on June 23 when the new forest rule was introduced. A policy which has pushed huge foreign exchange demand from the interbank market to the parallel market and the Bureau de Change retail segment has led to the artificial scarcity of the dollar and other major foreign currencies as operators now hold them in anticipation of higher prices. The Naira had fallen to 220, 223, to 126.5 kobo and 228 against the dollar in the past 1 week. And now to capital markets now. The bears equal the days of gains and losses in the week as the Nigerian oil shale index waned for the second consecutive trading day in the week by 0.03% to peg year-to-date return at 5.53%. Market breadth tilted in favor of decliners following the price appreciation of 25 stocks against 30 stocks that wane in value. Volume traded and market turnover sustained significant declines of 42.29% and 62.62% respectively. Sector performances remain gloomy as all sector indices traded southwards, save for the NSE Oil and Gas Index that advanced by 0.70%. The NSE Food and Beverages and NSE Insurance indices paid the most, having shared 1.29% and 1.12% accordingly. And now to money market now. Declining rates in the Nigerian interbank offer rate and money market further portend the subsiding levels of liquidity in the financial system, with the inflow of open market operation maturities worth to 160.30 billion. Rates declined across all tenors in the Nigerian interbank offer rates space by 0.94% as average rate settles at 13.22%. Open buyback rates paid by an average of 1.54% as well. Activities in the Treasury bills market was favored. The 6-month Treasury bills instrument to track investors' appetite after pairing by 0.18% to close at 13.57%. Meanwhile, after 2 straight days of losses, the Naira appreciated by 28 basis points to close at a mid price of 198 Naira 10 kobo to a dollar. And our oil giant British Petroleum has reached an $18.7 billion settlement with the U.S. Department of Justice following the 2010 Gulf of Mexico oil spill. This comes as a U.S. federal judge is expected to rule on how much BP owed in Clearwater Act penalties following the environmental disaster. In December, the U.S. Supreme Court rejected the oil giant's legal challenge over an original compensation deal agreed in 2012. At the time, British Petroleum had already paid about $2.3 billion in business economic loss claims out of a total of $4.25 billion in compensation claims to individuals and businesses. Over 125 million gallons of oil spilled into the Gulf in an explosion at the Deepwater Horizon oil rig in 2010 in what turned out to be the worst environmental disasters in U.S. history, claiming 11 lives. This settlement is the largest paid by a single company in U.S. history. And now to other story now. Nigerian star lead the top African singers who have been scheduled to perform at this year's MTV African Music Awards, as they will be joined by American star Neo. KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa is the venue for the awards of July 18 with HK and gang boss Davido and King of Queens Yemi Alade joining Diamond Platnumz, Bushi and Casper Voyes as the scheduled performers. On all the 5 stars scheduled to perform are contenders at Mama 2015, as Davido will battle it out with Diamond Platnumz in the Best Male category, while Yemi Alade and Bushi challenge for the Best Female category. And in sports now, the Under-16 women's basketball team of Nigeria Basketball Federation defeated an Abuja selected side Under-22 female basketball team in a friendly game on Wednesday. Abuja selected side dominated the game before the Under-16 girls turned around and pulled back from 11-28 to win the last set with extra 3 points. The game ended 51-54 in favor of the Under-16 basketball team. And a former extradition request has been submitted to Switzerland by United States of America to extradite 7 FIFA officials arrested in May over allegations of corruption. The 7 top executives arrested in Zurich are among 14 FIFA officials indicted on charges of rampant, systemic and deep-rooted corruption charges followed a major inquiry by the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the FOJ said Zurich police acting on its behalf will give the 7 officials a hearing over the extradition request. And our Manchester United striker Javier Hernandez is likely to miss the start of pre-season training after breaking his collarbone playing for Mexico. Hernandez was injured in a Gold Cup warm-up game against Honduras in Houston and is likely to be out for top 4 weeks. The 27-year-old has scored 59 goals in 154 games for United, but is expected to leave Old Trafford this summer as he spent last season on loan at Real Madrid, but they opted against a deal. The Mexico team doctor, Gerardo Aguila, said the fracture of the right collarbone has been confirmed, the injury. And our Britain's Andy Murray reached the third round of Wimbledon with a one-sided win over Dutchman Robin Haase as the Scots seeded third win 1-6-1, 6-1, 6-4 on court one in far more comfortable conditions than Wednesday's record-breaking temperatures. He will face Italian 25th seed Andrei Seppi or Croatian teenager Bona Soric in round 3 on Saturday, as James Ward is also through with our Jazz Bedene aiming to make it 3 British men in the last 32 later on Thursday. Murray said he's very happy with the way he played and said he felt there were things he could do better in the first round, but today he did things much better and also felt like he dedicated or dictated the baseball lines. Well, of course, that's each on Court TV Primetime News tonight, but just before we go, a recap of our major headline. And now we told you that the President Muhammadu Buhari has relieved the Director General of the State Security Service, Itai Peyong, of his appointment. Also brought to you that suspected Boko Haram's insurgents shot dead many people, possibly as many as 97 late Wednesday in Borno State. And finally tonight, oil workers say the recent fuel scarcity in the country is caused by the non-availability of enough commodity to cater for the country's needs. Well, and that's it tonight. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalapeh on behalf of the entire news crew. Have a good night rest.